This is the new Peak Edition Atlas from Volkswagen. Is it any good? Well, we're going to find out right now on Driving Sports TV. Woo! These days, almost every car maker is offering off-road ready trims for some of their most popular family crossovers. Subaru has Wilderness, Toyota has the Woodland, Honda has Trail Sport, Kia has X-Pro, and I think you get the point. Well, now it's time for the Germans to join the fun. This is the new for 2024 Volkswagen Atlas Peak Edition SEL. This trim is a $2,000 upgrade over the standard SEL package. With the Peak Edition, you get a revised nose, a Peak Edition badge, 18-inch alloy wheels wrapped in 255/60 all-terrain tires, roof rails, a synthetic leather interior adorned with Peak Edition details, and unique door inserts. So does this really improve the Atlas when it comes to off-road capability, or is it just a cynical cash grab? Let's take a deeper look. Under the hood is a standard 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo engine, making a peak 269 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque. The transmission is an 8-speed automatic with paddle shifters. 4-motion all-wheel drive with active control and drive modes is also standard at this trim level. We'll talk a little bit more about that a little later in this video. EPA rates economy at 18 miles to the gallon in town and 24 on the highway. Price as you see it here with no additional options, $51,785 US, including destination. Personally, I think this is a great looking vehicle, especially with the avocado pearl paint. You can, however, just tell by looking at it that clearances are going to be an issue. Volkswagen claims a meager 7.1 inches of clearance overall, with an approach angle of 18.9 degrees and a departure angle of 21.3 degrees. In terms of dimensions, that pretty much puts this on par with the Honda Pilot Black Edition we just tested. Now, the Honda Pilot Black Edition is a street-oriented vehicle. It has no pretense of off-road capability. For that, Honda offers the Trail Sport, and even the Trail Sport only has 8.3 inches of ground clearance, which is more than an inch than what this thing gets. If you are a regular viewer of this show, you know that we already tested a 2024 Atlas R-Line just last year. In that video, we ran the Atlas R-Line through our easy course here at our Peninsula Proving Grounds, and it actually did really well. It got through all the stuff that we threw at it. But it's been almost a year since we filmed that video, and we've made a lot of improvements here at our Peninsula Proving Grounds. In fact, we have a whole new section that we're going to test with this new Atlas. So let's buckle up and give it a try. Hey, actually, you know what? This is pretty nice. I like all the Peak Edition details they've added. This little Peak Edition steering wheel emblem looks nice. Steering wheel is wrapped in synthetic, again, feels good. In fact, these synthetic seats also very comfortable. One thing I am noticing is that this Peak Edition logo looks kind of similar to Honda's Trail Sport logo, which also uses orange as its signature color. Coincidence? Yeah, probably. One thing that is special about this vehicle is that they actually give it its own gauge cluster, and it's a funky one. I kind of love it. So last year I did test the new Atlas, and at first blush, it's pretty much identical to what we have here. We just have slightly different interior treatment. Of course, we have the all-terrain wheels and tires. Beyond that, there's really not a lot different here. It just feels like another Atlas. And the criticisms I had last year are still true today. Being that it's a high-strung Turbo 4, it's very peaky, so you don't get a lot of low-down power. Also, 7.1 inches of ground clearance. I'm sure that's an encumbered number, not empty, but still pretty low, especially with a Peak Edition badge. They really should add an extra inch of ground clearance if they're going to badge it as a special off-road adventure edition. The nose, there's no underbody protection on this thing. It is basically relying on its what I consider to be a pretty good all-wheel drive system, the Haldex/Borg-Warner system. I believe this is a 4th gen, correct me if I'm wrong, but I found the 4th gen to be an excellent system in tricky situations. Now, obviously, what we're going to have a problem with today is probably geometry. That's going to be the #1 thing to look out for. Rubbing on the front, rubbing on the back, breakover, all these things are going to be problematic. I mean, the approach angle is just over 18 degrees on this thing, which is not fantastic. Because this is the off-road looking Atlas, I think we need to try out its chops, see what it is capable of. Now granted, I understand, most of the people buying this are buying into the package. They're not going to be actually going off-road all that much. However, out here in the Pacific Northwest, a lot of people do go off-road with their regular vehicles, not even just off-roaders. So what we're actually gonna do with this vehicle today is we're gonna drive it on an all-new course that I just built. This is an extension of the Fun Forest. The Fun Forest is basically the whole west side of the property now, and it contains a number of different routes. So we're gonna take the easier of the two routes on this side, and we're gonna do it in reverse. I haven't quite decided what the flow is gonna be yet, so this is gonna be kind of fun for me and educational as well. I have to say, this is the very first non-highly capable vehicle I've taken on this trail. I have no idea if this vehicle can get through here. I really don't. There's a climb up at the end with a very tight cut that we might not have enough brake over, and I think that's going to be one of the biggest things to look for. Now, keeping in mind, this vehicle has just over 7 inches of ground clearance. That's not a lot. So hopefully I haven't raised the bar too much with this course that a vehicle like this couldn't get through it. But if this can't get through it, then that'll say something about this Peak Edition. So let's go ahead and set up the vehicle. I am going to go ahead and go straight into the off-road mode. So this does have a front camera, and I am happy to see that. I'm going to go ahead and just climb down here, listen for any grinding on breakover. Again, first vehicle I've ever taken down here outside of my Ranger Raptor and Land Cruiser. Okay, we're doing pretty good. No big deal so far. Right. So we have our first little obstacle right up here. Because I just built this course, it is very loose soil. There's a lot of roots sticking up still. I gotta turn off those parking sensors. I do have to look out for stumps. This was logged probably about a decade ago. So we got big roots from big stumps. A lot of creaking in the body I'm hearing as I'm going over these obstacles. That's interesting. I got a little flag there because there's a little sapling tree I need to move. Let's see if we can go through this. Oof, already dragging on some of these roots. Okay, we're gonna tilt a little bit here. Oh, how are we doing? So this is just a little tilty soft section. This will wear in more over time, of course. Shouldn't be too difficult for any vehicle. Yeah, and it gets through it, no problem at all. A little slip there, but yeah, moving on. Great. We continue on, and here's going to be my first real decision, whether or not I go straight or if I go left. Now, straight, I know that's complicated. It actually has a number of ditches, it has trees in the way. It also has a very steep descent on the other side. And I'm not sure this has the approach or breakover. I think what we're going to do here is I'm just going to nose in up here and just kind of feel out the first part of the section to see if it's something I could even do with this vehicle. I'm guessing probably not. So we're going to continue here over the first log. Oof! Did not hit the body yet. That's good. Second log, although that suspension's a little firm for this kind of stuff. I'm just creeping along because I don't want to bottom out. Come on. It's actually giving me a pretty good crawl ratio here, all things considered. Now I'm going to tilt. Okay. Come on. Oop, whoop, there we go. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so right here we're going to check out that all-wheel drive system, how well it can climb us out of this hole. Now with these type of systems, you just lay in the throttle and it sorts it out as it shifts power around. I am varying throttle just a little bit. Come on, that's almost full throttle now. Oof. And I do have to turn. So for those of you saying go straight, no, that's not really an option. Oh. Okay, I don't think I can get up this. Let's try a little quick charge on it. Little bump. Come on. Oh, 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 oh. Yeah. Okay, can we climb up this? Got to wheel up probably. Can it lift? Ooh, that didn't feel good. Whoop, we're slipping. A little muddy here. Come on. Oh, we've glossed over. Right, well, I don't know if I can get up this. And that's okay, because this is supposed to be a harder section. Yeah. Oh boy, what do we got here? Yeah, we're a little high centered there. We're about to stuff it up here. Actually, we have stuffed it a little bit. And then the tire has loaded up with dirt, so it's basically a slick. So clearly, these tires aren't up to it, and the geometry can't get us through this, which is great. This is supposed to be the harder section. Let's see if we can get out the easier way. We're in reverse. Add a little throttle, brake comes off. Just gonna roll it over. Watch that nose. I think we'll be fine. There's a lot of creaking in the body though. Log. Yeah, I think we're okay. Let's get back over. Oh yeah, I dug a hole. Of course I did. Second log, up and over. Okay. So on the left here, we have another way out. It's steep, but it should be doable. I'm a little concerned about the breakover though, so I'll be listening for any grinding. So what we have here is dirt on the inside, gravel and rock on the outside. It is going to have a very tight breakover as we go over the top, especially on that inside, so we need to keep an eye on that. Otherwise, I think it'll do fine. Hopefully, fingers crossed. By the way, in case I didn't mention it, no underbody armor on this thing. Oh, let's put it in drive, up and over. I'm gonna have more grip on the right. Now I'm gonna try to cut it far right here to optimize that breakover. I get the feeling we're gonna crunch though as we come down here. This wheelbase is not quite, oh, we're hitting, but are we lifting? I don't know if we are lifting yet. I don't think we are. We're setting down. Oh man. Pull it up a little bit. Yeah, we're definitely grinding there. I don't think I can go anywhere else on the outside to make this any better. Nope, we're hitting. That's unfortunate. So neither of these trails are doable with a crossover like this. But I'm very happy with the way that course worked. It was complicated enough that I feel like you really have to have some off-roading capabilities to get through it. You can't just slap all-terrain tires on and call it good like Volkswagen did here. But we're not done yet. There's more off-road that I want to test with this vehicle. I am going to do a slightly easier off-road section in a little bit, but first I want to see how well this thing handles at speed on gravel roads. So we're in drive, we're in off-road mode. Let's see what it can do. And floor it. Oop, traction cutting in. Oh man. Ooh, floaty. Going back. Gonna hit about 30 miles per hour for the bump and we'll see how it does. And alley-oop. Whoop. Oh, that's not a great impact. Oh, yeah, not good for that. So if you want to use the Atlas to bomb down fire roads, I mean, it's okay. It's okay. I mean, the power is peaky, so it charges forward at over 3,500 RPM. The suspension is soft, very bouncy, so it's not ideal if you really want to blaze trails down forest roads. I think overall, we've determined pretty safely that, yeah, this is a badge. It's still the same Atlas as before, which is very good in very limited situations because you're limited by geometry of the vehicle. The tires are all terrains, but they're very mild. They load up very easily. Overall, I do kind of like the Atlas. think in this crowded marketplace of just so many good options that this one wouldn't be the top of my list. Oh, and the sales show that. This vehicle sells about 20,000 a quarter compared to the Toyota Highlander, which sells like 30,000 a quarter. The Toyota being a much, much more popular vehicle, of course. But this is good. If you want a cavernous back, a vehicle that just isn't on every other street corner, and it has a good all-wheel drive system that I think would work especially well in snow, then yeah, the Atlas, yeah, go for it. Pull the trigger. Now let's see how well this vehicle does with a slightly easier technical section, and that's on our ridge road right here, which I have actually modified the entry, so this is going to be, again, another test to see how difficult it is. I don't think it's going to be that hard, but it might at least give us an opportunity to see some of that power shifting in action. I'm just going to make sure that I'm in off-road mode, which I already am. Off-road mode will optimize the torque vectoring. It also automatically turns on hill descent control, which we haven't needed yet because we haven't gotten up anything to be able to get down it yet. Okay, let's see how this one is. I have not actually driven up this at all since I redid this section. Again, shouldn't be that difficult. This is the kind of stuff that I see in the forest roads around Washington State all the time. So we should be able to get up no problem. Got a little bit of traction issue here. Let's climb up, but that Borg-Warner all-wheel drive system gets the job done, I think. Come on, there we go. Move forward. We're getting a little bit of that traction system, shifting power around. It's doing a good job. Okay, it is decent when the job isn't too hard. Okay, I'm guessing where the road is. I think I go over here. I know for a fact that this ditch right here is too deep and too abrupt for the approach angle, so I'm going to hug to the right, see if we can just dip our wheels in and get through this. Yeah, do without hitting. Oop, little bump, but we're good. Okay, so we had success. So now we're going to continue on to the mogul section of the course. We got our sand hill right here, although it's wet right now, so it's not really that loose like it would normally be. Go up and over again. Actually, I'm going to cheat to the right a little bit because I know clearances are going to be an issue. As I go down here, wheel down, listen for grinding. Come on. Come on, Haldex all-wheel drive system, do your thing. Oh. Okay, turn off those parking sensors. Okay, Haldex all-wheel drive. Yeah, so what's detecting is a wheel is up, and so instead of all the power just spinning out of that wheel, because power will go path of least resistance, it'll add brakes, which shocks power back to the other side, and that helps get us through. Now, obviously, articulation on this vehicle isn't great. So it's having to use wheel braking way more than you would need to use wheel braking in a vehicle like, you know, a Toyota Tacoma, for example, which would have way more articulation. Okay, well, let's get through the moguls and then we'll wrap this up, assuming we get through the moguls. Okay, with the moguls here, we have basically a series of cuts, which is going to force the vehicle to go side to side, removing power off opposite wheels. Now, we might rub a little bit. I've never taken a vehicle with this little ground clearance through here before. I don't know if you can hear all that creaking. There's a lot of creaking going on. Oop, lifting a wheel, big time. On the hole there. Now, because we're going downhill, it's less reliant on that power shift and more on just the geometry. But, you know, it's actually doing an okay job here. There's no rubbing so far. If you were to run into some holes like this on a trail, you would be just fine. And as we saw in the sand slide there, the power system can shift power when it needs it if the geometry allows it to go onward. What do you think about vehicles like this that promote themselves as being adventure-oriented vehicles but really have no more capability than the standard vehicle? Is this okay? Let's talk about it in the comments section below. For Driving Sports TV, I'm Ryan Douthit. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, share videos. Really enjoy making them, and I hope you enjoy watching them. We'll see you again right here real soon. So this video is essentially done already, but I realized you probably wanted to see the Atlas Peak Edition go up the moguls. So I've thrown this camera down here and we're gonna do it and see if it can get up. Look for wheel braking.